What's up, Sagittarius? This is Jesse with 44 Astro with the general tarot reading for the new moon coming up on November 13th. November 13th happens to be my birthday. I am a Scorpio. The new moon will be at 4:27 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will be at 22 degrees Scorpio. It will be in a small stellium, and a stellium is just a chain of conjunctions. It's unbroken, 3 or more. It will be in a small stellium, which is just going to be 3 conjunctions with the Sun and Mars. And it will be in Scorpio, so it's going to be potent scorpionic energy, so it could be very sexual energy for many of us. It's going to be intense energy either way, like really intense. It's going to, some of us may really want to like transform in some way. Just really potent sexual energy. It's going to be power because Scorpio represents power. It's what Pluto represents, what Scorpio represents. Power for the sake of power. So it's going to be powerful energy for Sagittarius Ascendant, and I am a Sagittarius Ascendant. That card wanted to come out. I myself am a Sagittarius Ascendant. It's going to be your 11th or 12th house. It's time to take action. For Sagittarius Ascendant, 11th or 12th house. 11th house is your role in the greater social sphere of society, like how you're going to work with society, your social groups. 12th house, of course, is the house of the unconscious, hidden enemies, things like that. So, with that scorpionic energy, which is very occult, very powerful energy in that dreamy house, if you have it in the 12th. And for me, as a Sagittarius Ascendant, I think for me, actually, it's going to be in the 11th. Actually, I know it's going to be in the 11th. But for those of you who would be in the 12th, your dreams could be really vivid. You could be having a lot of sexual dreams. You could have really dark dreams, scary type dreams. Scorpios can be very dark energy. Pluto is a very dark, malefic planet. But every planet has its own side, its own polarity. So for like the negative aspects of Pluto, which would be like power for the sake of power, control for the sake of control, not sex, but rape, those types of things. You have the positive side, which is using power to help others, embracing your own power, empowering yourself to do good in the world. Instead of sex, love, or having sex with your loved one, but doing it really well, because, that's what Scorpio is. Anyway, this is a Sagittarius reading, so we're going to get 2 Sagittarius. Now that I went off on Scorpio, because I am a Scorpio and Sag mix. Like, I'm basically just a Scorpio and Sag mix. I'm a person that's literally those 2 signs almost exclusively. Like, everything I have is in those 2 planets in a big stellium, except for Aquarius and Jupiter, or Jupiter and Aquarius, Mars and Libra, and then the asteroids, which would be Chiron, which I have in Gemini in the 6th house. And then of course, everybody's MC is going to be 9th or 10th house. And then your nodes will be where they're at. My nodes, 5th house, 11th house. North, 5th, South, 11th. And North node, if you want to know, is your relationships in life. So when you see North node in a natal chart, what it means for an individual is going to be like your relationships, the ones that move you forward. So where it's located, and if there's any aspects on it, will kind of shape those type of people that you're going to meet in your life. And then for your South node, those are going to be the people you want to stay away from. Those are going to be people that's going to kind of hold you back, past life type stuff. Anyway, some people call it the nadir. All right, Sagittarius. Let's see what we have for you. Looks like a love reading. It looks like you're asking about love anyway. An offer in love, maybe, because you do have the Knight of Pentacles, which could represent money, but with the Lovers beside it, him holding out that pentacle, maybe asking whether you should give your love out, maybe to an earth sign. And with the 3 of rods there, it's somebody that you feel that you have an established connection with, right? Somebody that you really can rely on. Or you're asking if maybe you got into a relationship and you're asking if this is someone you can truly rely on, maybe financially. It could be just that it's an earth sign. I'm still dealing with this damn COVID, man. It's been weeks. It says time to take action. So I don't know necessarily what that would mean with the question, right? If it's saying maybe you should, if you're trying to get into a relationship with this individual, it's saying go for it, right? But if you're asking if this person is reliable that you've been with, maybe not so much. But we'll see what the cards say on that. But it looks like you're trying to get an established love relationship, like one that's built on stable. Or you're asking if it will be stable, especially if you're newly in a relationship. Because this is all about being established. That's what the 3 of rods is all about. He's established. He's standing there with the fertile ground behind him, planted his rods in the ground, and in front of him is a barren landscape that he will very well tame next. And this is a very stable energy, especially with money. But it could be you're asking specifically about an earth sign, or if you are the earth sign, because you could have Capricorn in your chart, like cusp, or any of the other earth signs, ascendant, moon, however it falls for you. So it's like you're really concerned about either finding love or the current love situation that you're in. I mean, for every Sagittarius, it's going to be different, right? Because all of us are born at different times. So you could have, and some of you will be Sagittarius sun, some of you will be Sagittarius moon, some will be Sagittarius ascendant. Some may just have Jupiter in Sagittarius with a bunch of aspects on it, right? Or just Jupiter in the 9th house with a bunch of aspects touching, like the aspects that it has are touching from Sagittarius. So it's going to make Jupiter and Sagittarius very important in your chart. And you should probably watch Sagittarius. That's why knowing your natal chart is so important, because it doesn't necessarily mean your sun, your moon, and your ascendant that's going to be the most important. You need to look at where the planets are and where most of the aspects are hitting. Like for me, my moon has the most aspects, right? That's why I feel like I have a connection to the other side. I have like a freaking antenna on my head because I have the moon in like 10 aspects, right? And it's touching Mercury, my ascendant, and Uranus. So it's like the electrical energy. Boom. That's what Uranus is. Anyway, so some will be on this path. Some will be on this path. Some may experience both. Some may have already happened, and some it's coming. If it doesn't resonate at all, try to see if some of your other signs resonate. But you have the King of Pentacles, so this definitely looks like it has to do with an earth sign. So the question seems to be about an earth sign or an earthy individual. I mean, you may only know their sun sign, but they could have a ascendant in earth. If they're like a thick, like for a male, a thick, hairy individual, they're probably going to have some earth in their chart. Or Scorpio, because Scorpio can make you really hairy too as far as a male. And for a female, they're going to have really pretty features because it's a Venus sign. They're going to be a really pretty person probably. I'm not saying that being big and hairy doesn't make you pretty. You can be pretty and be big and hairy as far as for a man. But with Venus features for a woman, it's going to look a lot different. It's going to look, and for a woman, it may be an athletic individual too. So yeah, you have the King of Pentacles. So it seems like you're asking about a King of Pentacles. Doesn't matter if it's male or female. It's looking good, looking like you're moving forward with this individual for sure. This is victory, moving forward fearlessly. And this, you could say, is being stuck, but because it's with these cards, it's a new perspective, like looking at it differently. Like you're looking at this person differently. Maybe this is someone you've known for a while, and now you're thinking romantically about them. Maybe you didn't before. And maybe they're like hinting at it toward you, and you're like, oh wow. Or this, like I said, with this new moon, this energy is very sexual, and like. It's like time to take action. And let me tell you something. Mars represents sex in the zodiac. And who does Mars rule? Aries. And this is new moon in Aries. And with this scorpionic energy, and Mars being in Scorpio in this stellium with this moon, this is very powerful sexual energy. And it touching the sun and the moon. The moon's your inner world. The sun is how you express it in the world. So, you can't make this up. There may be some kind of connection coming. It could be that somebody you're already with, like I said, and you're asking about the stability of it. And you may begin to look at this in a different way. You may be like, let's move forward to the next step, like marriage type stuff, or moving in together, or whatever the next step is for you. And the reason I'm focused on the love so much is because of this. This is right in the dead center. So it feels like love energy, and that's what it feels like. That's what the question is about. Could it be about your loved ones? Now, okay, if it's not about like love, like with a partner, you could say that this would be about gifts for your loved ones for Christmas, because we're in Christmas, Thanksgiving, that time of year, and you're trying to figure out who to buy for, who not to buy for, who's established and that that you want to buy for, and like who isn't, because you need to budget this time of year. It could definitely be something about that. And if the question is something about that, you're like, I'm gonna have to be like this. You need a lot of money to spend, but it's a good time to give. It's what it's all about this time of year, right? It's based off. I mean, one of the bases for Christmas is what the Romans celebrated called Saturnalia. But if you look at the whole Roman pantheon, they're all based off the planets. They're literally called Mars, But anyway, Jupiter, and in the Greek it'd be like Zeus, Hades, blah blah. Anyway, Saturnalia in Rome, what would happen is the slave owners, when they would let their slaves be the masters for like 2 weeks during Saturnalia, during the time of Capricorn, to worship Saturn, because that's kind of what Saturn's about, is about giving up. Because you're harvested, everything's dead around you, like the trees, the plants, can't grow anything. So it's about what you give up during that time of year. So that's what they did, and that's how they celebrate. That's one of the ways they celebrate. And that's one of the things Christmas is based off of, and that's why we all give during Christmas. And there's probably many other versions of celebrating the solstices. Many, all throughout the world. But yeah, so it's really all about giving. But give within reason. Like don't break yourself on it. And you may feel like you have to be this or be in this way, or maybe there's an earth sign that is going to get you something, and you are trying to figure out what to get them, kind of gift wise. Maybe you're deciding to get them a car. That's a big purchase. Like maybe you have a son or a daughter that's an earth sign, and you're debating whether to get them a vehicle. If you're going to buy a vehicle, now's the time. The APR is going to be the lowest because the rates are retarded right now. But if you buy a new vehicle, your rates are going to be best right now. You're going to get the best at the end of the year. Best rates, best deals, that type of thing. This is the other path that some of you may be on. Looks like there's some walking away from squabbling here. Like, this is an argument card with the 5 of rods. 8 of cups, walking away, clear as day. And you got the give and the take. So, it could be about giving presents and gifts during this time of year. Christmas can be like this. Like, if you're in a couple, like if you are asking about your loved one and you are kind of debating how much money y'all need to spend on people, like as far as like gifts, don't let it get you like this, because money can make us argue. I know it can make me and my wife argue, and I imagine it can make anybody argue, because money's contentious. It's especially if you're a U.S. citizen, and really it doesn't matter what country you're in. We're all running after money to try to survive, right? That's the source of our livelihood, and so like the give and take of things with the 6 of Pentacles here. You're like, well, how much do we give? How much do we take? And he's holding scales, so it's like you got to try to find a balance of, the give and the take. And I'm sure you're going to have loved ones get you gifts and things like this, but there's, you want to avoid this. And this could even be at social gatherings, right? Everybody getting together and squabbling. Not all family members get together or get along together. So maybe you go to a social gathering and certain family members are blah 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 at each other for whatever reason. Maybe people had too much eggnog and are getting sauced up and they're arguing with their great aunt Nellie, and then it all goes kind of, you're like, nope, I'm walking away. I'm done with this. I'm not dealing with this. Bye-bye. I gave my gifts. I ate my food. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Thanksgiving, all that good. But either way, I'm just trying to interpret the cards. I know it seems really specific, but I'm trying to interpret as many interpretations as I can of the cards. I'm going to get some clarifiers on it. And these are different paths. I'm trying to interpret it as like, your loved ones, and then as with your lover as well. And this is the advice, right? You got justice here. This looks like a kind of like balance, and it's the same focus on the positive this time of year, with the 5 of cups, and looks like a lot of hard work. So yeah, I'm going to be working harder myself. I don't make any money off doing these videos because I'm not monetized or anything, but I'm going to get a second job just during the holidays to make sure I have extra money to give, right? And that's kind of what this is about, right? It's about giving. Don't let it get you down. Right? I'm a Sagittarius too, so this maybe has something to do with me. But like it's like, don't let it get you down. Focus on the positive. Focus on the reason why you're doing what you're doing, right? If you have to work harder or do more, but you want to have balance in that. You need to be able to justify it to yourself, right? Be balanced. Justify it to yourself. Don't focus on the negative. And don't overwork yourself. And keep a focus, because I think it's kind of saying balance these two things, right? Because you don't want your work having to work too hard to make you focus on those spilt cups, right? On what you lost. And we'll clarify on it, see what it's talking about. And then the outcome, you have a King of Swords here and a Knight of Swords. Could be an air sign that's involved. This really feels like a person here. All right, and you look like there's some seeds that you are planting, or seeds that they have planted. Looks like moving forward with a new idea, maybe as well. It could be just like a really good new idea. And this could be, your significant other. This could be a specific family member. And like it's like all the gifts. Maybe they're going to give a lot of gifts. Maybe you're going to give a lot of gifts to them. Or this individual's coming to your house. Maybe you're having Christmas at your house and they're bringing a lot of gifts in. Or maybe your spouse is this type of individual, very airy. When I mean that, I mean like very logical. And they're like, we're buying a lot of gifts. We're getting gifts for all these people. And then you're coming in like, no. They're like, I don't think so. We need to budget. Or vice versa. It could be you're the ones like, I want to give. And they're like, no. And this is just kind of like the intellectual banter that may be going on. But it looks like there's ideas around gifts giving. Because, you got 2 swords cards. They're court cards. They could be people too. Like I said, if they're squabbling and arguing like there is on this path, it could be something with these specific individuals that either like are going to be at the family gathering or, like I said, your spouse, and there's some kind of arguments around what you should give. Like, what seeds are you planting for the future? Like, who's means the most to you in the family, or who's been the closest connection to you, and who are the ones you're definitely going to give to. Always give to the kids, right? Whatever the nieces, nephews, all that, you always got to give to the kids. The adults, I imagine they don't care as much, but if you can, do it, right? I'm all for that. I know we make sure we get something for all the kids that we can think of in the family, just because, kids appreciate it more, I think, a lot of times. That's where all of us as adults, we're like, oh man, we got to spend all that money. How much did that cost? Blah, blah. We let the world sink into our brains. All right, let's get some clarifiers on these cards. Right there. Let's see what we got. Looks like some truths coming out of some sort. So, on the establishment, like on established, if this individual is established, like if you're asking, like, you want to stay with this individual, like, should you establish yourself with them? Man, that's saying that's wisdom right there. That's truth. You should. For sure. And if you're trying to set down, that's wisdom to like try to, and about what you're giving as well. It's very, but if you're also planning to offer yourself, it's saying, yeah, pick the established individual, or, if you want to establish it and make it official, maybe a next step in your relationship, it's saying do it. But with the Knight of Pentacles, you had the indolence, which is like kind of feeling stuck. And this time of year, I imagine, because all the money we spend, it's going to kind of make us feel that way, especially with money. But if it's with an earth sign, and if it's an earth sign, like, and maybe you're already with somebody, you're like, well, I want to separate from this earth sign. But it looks like it's with another earth sign. But, earth signs are very stable most of the time. So it's like they're very good as far as, like, stability. You're probably going to do very well with them. I would say water signs, too. When you get to the fire and the air, they're a little bit more moving. So it can be a little bit more difficult. And then you have the Princess of Wands on the lovers, right? So that's passion. It could be that you really have passion for this individual, but you don't, for whatever reason, you don't feel like you can actually get with them, or that you can't offer in a way. But it's saying that you should, because that's the truth. It's truth to do that. It's wisdom. And it could be that you feel stuck, like giving to like individuals that maybe you don't necessarily want to, but it's saying that giving is good. Like, it's just, this time of year really is. It's going to help you for the new year, for sure. It'll help all of us. Everything is, reciprocity, right? There's a balance to everything. If you give out a lot, you're going to balance that out, you're going to have to receive a lot, And it could set you up really nicely for the next year. But don't put yourself in any kind of danger. For sure. This is kind of married. Okay, I see the Hierophant on this earth sign, so you may be thinking about marriage, like I said. Next level up, like I said. This feels like marriage, right? On this path. You're asking whether you should marry this individual. Feels like you really want to put down foundations, or you're at, it's an earth sign. If you haven't met them yet, you're about to. Maybe you meet them during the holiday season. Maybe you already know who they are. And it looks like, Queen of Wands on this Chariot moving forward. That could be you. Male or female, because that's fire. That's a fire sign, female. You're wanting to move forward. It's fire sign, female, but it can be male too, right? You're moving forward with this earth sign. You're wanting to move forward in this earth sign. And then you get a very passionate, fiery card. And this could just be like, I'm not, there ain't nothing wrong with that. You may be just a hookup. but you want to, maybe you hooked up before and you're like, now you want to make it official type of thing. And, this new perspective is because, boom, you got some kind of passion or fire. And I'm telling you, this Scorpio moon is going to ignite that fire in a lot of people. And I didn't mention that it was in the 19th mansion of the moon, which is a scorpionic mansion. I'll try to remember to edit it in because this is in the middle. I normally do it in the beginning. I didn't mention the 19th mansion of the moon. And I'll put up the description of it right here so you can kind of read about it. it's about making new friendships, connecting with people. It's auspicious for having children. You don't really want to have children or conceive during this time, but it's great for like connections, whether it be business, love, just friendships. So, I mean, this may be somebody you've known, and it takes a step to the next level. It could just be the individual you're already with, and like it's about to really heat up in a good way. And it's saying it's time to take action. This is fiery energy. This is very hot energy here for you, Sagittarius. Got a lot of fire coming from the clarifiers. You got fire in the, and you got fire in the moon card. And then it's like the main deck just kind of laid out the landscape of what's going on. And then the clarifiers are like hot. At least for this part of it, which it feels like it's for a lover. And if some of you might be on this path with like the gifts and stuff. So we're going to see what's going on here. Oh yeah, fighting about money. So on this path, for those of you that are trying to figure out the whole Christmas situation, so there's gonna be some harsh words said, right? Because you got the Queen of Swords, and she is just a brutal queen. The way she communicates, she has a head in her hand. She's like, I take no prisoners. I'm telling the truth, and you're gonna want to walk away from that because somebody's not necessarily wanting to see the truth in the situation, and the squabbling looks like it's about money. So if in your relationship, if it's a squabbling about money, this is it, because it's the money's on the squabbling. And it could be, family members arguing about money, that type of thing. And then you're like bringing in the message. This is definitely a message with the Princess of Swords here. It's like, you need to balance this out. You need to do this in a balanced and safe way, like the voice of reason. Maybe somebody wants to give a whole lot, and you're like, we have to look out for ourselves and our livelihood and our lives. And it could be like a bunch of family members arguing about money or something like that around you, and you're like, look, balance. Don't let it get too harsh. Walk away before it gets like this. Princess of Swords is fine. Once you get to the Queen of Swords, she's cutting heads off. So you don't want the conversation to get to Queen of Swords. You want Princess of Swords is fine. She's just giving truth. I mean, she's moving fast too, and she's giving truth, but like, she's not cutting heads off. She's wielding a sword, but she's not cutting heads off. And you got that wealth card there. So like the conversation or the argument's gonna be about money. For some of you, I mean, this time of year, it's very hard to avoid at least conversations about what you have to spend, because we all have bills to pay. We all have. Life still did that flip out? I definitely wanted to stop there. I don't know if I flipped a card over. There's that Earth sign again. So I mean, yeah. So the Earth sign individual is good, very good. Whoever this earthy individual, good, solid foundations, very good. That's the balance. They're gonna bring balance, or you need to be like this, solid, moving forward, meticulously, paying attention to the details, how much you spend, budgeting, because that's what earth signs do. They're very good with money, especially Taurus, but all of them. And this is you got the Five of Cups, right? But you got that Queen of Cups down there with it. Queen of Cups is your emotions, there. It definitely can be. So it's just reinforcing again. It's like, focus on the sweetness of the holidays. What the spirit of the season is really all about. Just spending time with your loved ones. Most people are not going to care so much about the gifts. It's more just about being able to be around each other. And that's the gift. That's the greatest gift of all, is the love, the interaction with each other. It's wonderful. Getting to hug and kiss the people that you love. And it's saying, if you work yourself too hard, debauchery. It's going to be terrible. You're going to feel like these gooey cups. You're going to feel like there's just, you're just losing it. You're dripping it all away. So yeah, don't overwork yourself. It's just reinforcing it again. And it's saying be meticulous. Be like an earth sign. Budget. Be patient too. Be meticulous. Things almost always work out. And believe that they'll work out, because the more you believe they'll work out, the more they're likely to work out. No doubt about it. Be surprised what faith does. Confidence and faith. And that's what faith is. Confidence in yourself. Knowing that it'll work out. Whatever your motivation is, it will work out. But if you're like, it's not going to work out, we're going to lose all this and we're going to lose all that and we're worried, it's just going to lead to more worry. And then the reality around you is going to be reinforced with your worries, because you're programming it from your from your unconscious, right? Because that's worries and fears are generally repressed in some way, and they go down into the unconscious, and then boom, they start reinforcing, or your unconscious starts trying to talk to you about it by showing you by showing little tidbits and like situations in your life that are going to be like, work this out, figure it out, balance it out. It's really about the balance. And that's all the synchronicities are. It's when you're unconscious, when you've actually opened up into your unconscious. A lot of us see synchronicities. All of us do, really. But when they really start going into overload, right, and you start like searching for the spiritual, it's because somewhere in you, your conscious opened up to your unconscious, and they're in communication now. Now it's all about raising the energy up to the crown chakra, and that's basically what enlightenment is. But the aspect of actually, right, once you have the channel open, you have the vessel correct. And there's different ways to open the vessel, right? For me, it was through a catharsis, because I had a really rough childhood. And I eventually broke down after, like 20 years later, when I was an adult, around 28, my first Saturn cycle, by the way. And I, cried it all out, and I was lucky. It opened it up, and then I transformed into a whole nother being. And at first, all I could say was this is a spiritual experience, because it was just like this opening. And there are other ways to do it too. Meditation, just starting to really spend time in the moment, feeling really connected to everything around you, not judging it, just being there with it, and just, being in awe. And I think most of us, it's open to some extent, or at least there's some communication, like very vivid dreams. That's another aspect of the unconscious. Carl Jung, you read about Carl Jung, he's one of the few individuals that studied this aspect, phenomena, in people extensively throughout his life and wrote about it. So there's actually good information about it. A lot of people don't know that. It sucks to have it done through a catharsis like I did. I don't recommend that for anybody, because generally when it's done through a catharsis, you have to go through a really traumatic experience, or many traumatic experiences. And then it kind of just, when you feel there's no way out, it just bursts open, and you're like, oh. And that's how it happened for me. And I don't recommend that for anyone. It's best to like nurture it on your own, and if you study it and know about it, and you'd be surprised how just studying the occult or studying spirituality and things like that, you'll start seeing more synchronicities. You'll start having more vivid dreams, because that aspect of us is our connection to the all, right? How our physical reality, like our conscious linear life, is full of boundaries. Like there's a wall right behind me. There's boundaries everywhere. This desk is a boundary. In our conscious world, it's linear like that. And the unconscious is the opposite of it. So in our dream state, there's no sense of time. We're not in any really one place. A lot of times we don't even realize where we're at, or we don't pay attention to that aspect of the dream, the actual location of it. Sometimes you do when it's really beautiful. But most of the time it's just like the interactions that we're having and things like that. But it's boundless. There's no boundaries there at all. It's completely open. Everything's connected. All information's connected. That's why, and everything came from darkness and burst out into the light, right? The progenitor was darkness, and then boom, burst forth into the light. And then creation happened, right? The light of consciousness, but it came from the unconscious, which is the progenitor, which is God, right? To an aspect, or at least that's our connection to it. And it's boundless. So those individuals say, I have these psychic intuitions, or I'm a psychic, or all these things. That's because they're connected to that. They really have a nice connection with their unconscious, and they're able to communicate it with it. And not only that, you have to decipher it, because it speaks in symbols. It's not linear. So it's very hard to decipher. And when you can decipher it, then you can bring it out into the conscious world. That's when you're talking about a real psychic, right? And it's boundless down there. So when you're connected to it, you're connected to the infinite. So it's real interesting. And I went off on a tangent there. I do apologize, Sagittarius. Sorry, not sorry. It's good information. So these were the cards you got on the outcome. It looks like work. You're gonna have to work, and with the Seven of Pentacles there, it's definitely like the seeds that you're planting. The outcome is that you're gonna have to do work to give, to get all the gifts for everyone, or to nurture this relationship, right? It's always gonna end up being work. Like on this individual, you have, or this could be like a boss or something. This could be why you're worried, because you're like I'm done with this individual. Or this individual, or this is the individual, like your spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend, that's working their butt off, to get this. Or maybe it's you, right? You could also have air in your chart, and Sagittarius is very airy. Like I present myself as a Sagittarius because it's my ascendant and my moon, so I think like a Sagittarius. I present my life like Sagittarius, and I'm like an air sign, really. And I have a grand trine in air, so that kind of helps too. So I'm very intellectual. And then on the seeds being planted, you got a Knight of Cups. So you could be customing, maybe some of your cuss Scorpio, or maybe there's a water sign also involved in this in some way. And it could just be, he's offering that cup, and it really, so it's like the giving, and I think that's what that is, right? Because you have it on the Seven of Pentacles there, so that's like what you're giving. You're giving these gifts. You're giving of yourself. Maybe you're offering love. Like if it's the relationship thing, you're offering love. And then you have interference. So yeah, so having interference on this card, it's like interference kind of in your thoughts and your ideas. So I think you may be having trepidation, like if it's you're bringing your relationship to the next level. It could be that like there's arguments about money, things like that. So there's interference in your thoughts because you're kind of worried. If it's about the gift thing, of course it's going to be similar. You're worried about spending all that money, so you have specific thoughts about that. But this feels like an actual person. This one, and it feels like somebody you either work with, or that like as your spouse, and it's working really hard. Or it could even be you, if you have air in your chart, and then you're working very hard and you're trying to figure out what you can do to get more so that you can give. And it could be also figuring out the way to make whatever this is, the connection with this earth sign, how you can make that work. And you're trying to figure out a way in your head, because it's thoughts with swords. How can you make this work? And maybe how can you let this individual know you're ready to take it to the next level as well. So, but it's saying it's time to take action, so you need to do it. And if you're trying to connect to this person physically, and this energy's all about that right now, figure out a way. I imagine it wouldn't be too difficult if y'all are interested in each other. I don't think it'll be that difficult. But we can all have trepidation. We don't ever want to cross the line with anyone, infringe upon anyone's individual sovereignty. Because that's never good, right? You don't want to, but I think in this situation, you're supposed to. Like, even if it's just that you want to hook up with this person, but you're not really taking it seriously. If you do, it's going to lead to something bigger. It just is. And that's what it looks like. It looks like you're going to end up building foundations with them, or that you should. And if it has to do with traveling for the holidays and you're worried about gifts and buying gifts, give what you can. People, I imagine the people that you love don't really care so much about how much you spend on them. The fact that you get them anything is going to mean a lot to them, probably. I would almost guarantee it. Now, if you're over here, like I said, if you're trying to buy somebody a car, that's going to be a little different. And you need to be real selective about that, and that's a big purchase. Like if you have maybe a child that's turning 16 or something like that, and you're really debating buying them a vehicle, you do need to be choosy, and that is a huge purchase. And be careful about it. It's a good time of year to buy new vehicles. It's a terrible time to buy used. Think about it like that. Just in the world right now, it's a terrible time. In the U.S. anyway. Okay, Sagittarius, that's all I had. I know it was really specific, but I'm trying to cover as many bases as I can since this is a general reading. Please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting. I'm trying to get this algorithm to start helping me again. I got sick and took a little break off, and now it doesn't want to help me. Or show my videos very much. But either way, you don't have to if you don't want to. I'm still just glad that you're here. The view's enough. If you made it into this video, I know I ramble a lot. But anyway, happy holidays, and I wish you the best. And hope to see you here again. Cheers, Sagittarius.